What's up, everybody? I'm Jason from the Our Garden Adventure .5 series, and today we're going to be talking about some of the purchases that I bought that I absolutely loved, that I absolutely head over heels and amazed with throughout a whole gardening experience. And we're going to talk about some of the things that I really wish I wouldn't have bought. One of the things that didn't click with me in the beginning but quickly became very apparent throughout the gardening process was just how much stuff you need. Now, do you need the bamboo growing racks? Of course not. Do you need good lighting? It's not a bad idea. Granted, I did not go for the high-end lighting and I may have been suffering for it, but the medium lights that I bought are fantastic. I love them. I had a great experience with them and I would highly recommend them the same. However, some of the other stuff, all of the stuff I'm talking about today and every video is going to be linked down in the description. Just click on that link and it'll bring you to a separate webpage where I have listed all the items that I've bought and recommend. Link down in the description. These are Amazon affiliated links, so they don't cost anything extra to you, but it does give me a couple cents per purchase, which really helps us out, so I really appreciate that so much. That's it. That's the end of the advertisement. Let's get back to the video. As you can see, I bought this in January, and it's still in the wrapper. Super important, obviously. This is a snow guard or a animal fence, whatever you want to call it. They're going to call it a green safety fence. That's cool. This is basically to keep animals and pests out of your garden. And granted, we live in the suburbs. We don't live near the city at all. So we do see quite a bit of animals in our area, mostly raccoons, skunks, squirrels, and the like that. But we also live near a lot of farms not too far from us, and we live near some foresty areas. So my concern was having deers, coyotes, foxes, things like that, a little bit bigger, and you know, the critters that actually want to come in and stample? It's a word. Stampede our garden to death, or you know, just eat things. And I thought by buying this, it would have saved us from those pesky beasts, but I never used it because never had any animals come into the garden. One of the things that we did do, which I thought was really clever of myself, now we have a lot of squirrels in our backyard, and I thought the squirrels were going to be a huge problem. So, me being as clever thinker as I am and the bleeding heart animal lover that I am, I ended up buying a squirrel feeder and kept that thing filled throughout the entire summer. This not only gave us a beautiful show and our cats a wonderful time looking out the back window as they watch squirrels attack and eat their own food, instead of the squirrels attacking and trying to jump on the bird feeder, which honestly was hilarious. But this gave the squirrels their own area, their own place, their own comfort zone, and it allowed them to really stay on that side of the lawn, so much so that they don't come to our deck anymore. Partly that's sad for my cats, but really it's amazing. It allowed the squirrels to be on their side of the lawn because they're getting fed constantly. Now, what I ended up doing for the bird feeder was I bought bird-specific seed. What the hell is bird-specific seed? Well, it's seed just for birds. Did you know that birds don't have saliva so that they can't taste heat? So I bought capsaicin-filled bird seed. The birds love it because they can't taste it. The squirrels thought it was hot as hell, so they never came back to the bird feeder again. They live happily over on the squirrel feeder. And because we have the squirrel feeder, never saw a squirrel in our garden once. This $30 purchase of Animal Guard, waste of time. Squirrel feeder, absolutely worth every penny. So in the very beginning of the gardening adventure, I thought I would try to save money wherever I could. Some of this was a fantastic idea, some of it not so much. The not so much part came back to bite me because I ended up paying twice as much in the long run. When I first started, I bought Reynolds Wrap heavy-duty tinfoil as the basins around the domes and around the plants because I thought, hey, if water is going to drip out It'll drip out onto this. It won't get onto the wood planks. It'll be fine on here. And unfortunately, I guess I'm not that smart. Water still gets around this and gets onto the wood, and we had a little bit of warping. So if you'll notice throughout a lot of the videos in the very beginning, I had tin foil underneath the domes, and then when I moved it over here, I had tin foil over here for a little bit. And this was a dumb move. In the very beginning, it was fantastic. It caught a lot of the moisture. It wasn't an issue, but as things started going on, and then when I moved the tin foil, I noticed that some of the moisture was accumulating underneath it. It ended up being stupid because the moisture was there and causing problems on the back end. The other reason I thought this was a good idea is because it is tin foil. It's tin. It's a heat conductor. So I thought by having the heat pad underneath, it would have been a fantastic idea because it would have conducted the heat a little more into the plants, so the plants actually got more heat. That was dumb. Because it's a conductor, it put too much heat into the plant. So eventually I got rid of one of the tin foils on the basins, and that basin's plants actually grew a little bit better because they weren't being cooked. Tin foil, dumb idea. Buy the basins to begin with. You'll thank yourself later. The other thing that I thought was going to be a good idea was a little portable heater. Now, if a heating pad was a great idea because they needed warmth, why wouldn't it be a bad idea to have more warmth? Well, besides warping one of the domes, throwing it away and having to buy another one, and warping one of these plastic basins and a couple of the pots themselves, this much heat actually ended up killing the plants because I didn't slowly introduce it over time like I should have. So this, really bad buy, stupid buy, except for my chinchilla. Ember absolutely loves the portable heaters, and I put it next to her cage and she just flips over it in love. So bad buy for plants, fantastic buy for chinchillas. So while I was rigging up the cables in the ceiling to move power from one part of the basement to another, unfortunately we don't have a lot of plugs down here, so I never put power over here, so I had to trace power along the ceiling over to the side and go over there. But instead of just putting it up in the rafters and hoping for the best, I ended up buying this set of, but basically this is a 132 piece kit of cable clamps that you can screw into the rafters, so it'll hold your cables up and it'll keep everything nice and clean. It comes with the screws, it comes with the clamps. I thought I would need a lot more. I ended up using maybe 30 of these pieces total. So 102 more pieces are left vacant in this purchase. Good purchase to begin with, bad in the quantity. So this is something I didn't get until a little later. My wife actually bought this for me for our anniversary. This is called a dibber. Dibbers are freaking awesome. I wish I had known about these earlier on, because when you get a pot like this, you fill it up with soil, you do all the wet work to it, which we'll get to in another video. I'll explain how to add the soil, how to put everything in. Instead of digging a hole with your finger or something like that, this is called a dibber, and it's shaped kind of like a really nasty, I'll just leave it like that. It looks like a kid's toy, like a wooden kid's toy. But what you do is you push this in, and it's got inches marked on it right there. And that tells you how many inches you can bury the seed. So if this is a seed, you only want to go an inch deep, you just poke that little hole right there, cover it with soil, you're done. Or if you already have something growing from one of the rapid rooters that we had, pushing this in the soil, moving it around, plopping this in is as simple as day. And you can think, yeah, I'll save a few bucks by not getting this. But I'll tell you, once we started putting stuff outside, this was amazing. This is a perfect buy. There is nothing wrong with this whatsoever. And this is probably hands down my favorite garden tool that I have. No question. Good things to have on hand, solo cup. This is awesome. I can fill this up with water and pour it gently into an area. Is this a necessity? Absolutely not, but it's super cool to have on hand, just like a paper towel. You don't go buying these things just because you're making a garden, I gotta have paper towels and a solo cup, but having this on hand is awesome, especially when I'm doing the soil mixtures. Having this, a quick cup, you don't need anything special, just have a solo cup or whatever. The other thing is a mister. Is this absolutely a necessity? Again, no, and you don't need to buy an expensive misting bottle. When I first started looking for one, I went to Amazon trying to find a empty mister bottle, and these things were like 12 bucks each, 10 or 12 bucks. And I was like, I'm not spending $12 on a misting bottle. So I went to Meijer And I'm looking all over the place. I find one for $8 and I'm like, $8 for an empty bottle? What the hell? And I thought, wait a minute. What if I went to the cleaning section? I bought the absolute cheapest cleaner I could possibly find. I put all that cleaner into one of the emptier cleaning bottles that I had at home. And then I washed the heck out of this with water, soap. I washed it out with vinegar. I washed it out with, I think that was it. I kept washing it, so it couldn't smell a thing in it, couldn't taste anything. And I made sure I filled this up with water and I drank out of it before I even put it down here for my plants. This thing's amazing. This ended up costing me $1. And then I can come down here and mist the plants when they need a little misting. Do I do that often? Not really. It's more of a makes me feel good to be down here. Hey, I'll play some music in the background. If you notice, there is some music playing in the background in some of the videos. I'm sorry. But I'll play some music for the plants down here. Mostly Ghost, Megadeth, you know, classics. And then I'll mist them down, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm interacting with the plant, and it's getting the plant a little used to having dew on it, so when you do transplant it outside, it'll feel a little more normal to what it's going to feel like outside once rain happens, dew happens, whatever. Ha! A mixture, a good and bad buy. Cling wrap. So you'll notice throughout the video series that I start growing things in coffee cans on the side because I didn't buy any of the planters yet. I just cooked coffee cans, cut out the bottom. Actually, I have one right here. I took coffee cans like this and I cut holes in the bottom so they could drain and be watered. And then on top of those, I took a piece of saran wrap, plastic cling. I took a piece of clear cellophane, put it on top that would act like a dome similar to the mini greenhouses. And that added capturing the moisture, it kept the humidity in. It was a great idea for a couple of the plants. Unfortunately, some of the plants ended up growing mold and mildew way faster. And again, this was a pro and a con. You learn which things do work, which things don't. Would I use this again? Maybe if a plant needed a little bit of help and I don't have the soil filled to the top. And I think that was a big stupid thing that I did from the beginning, was I would take a pot like this and I'd fill the soil up to right about here and the plant would grow and I put the cellophane over it and it would work fine. It would actually act as a greenhouse and it would work great actually. But then as the plant grew, I was like, crap, I have to pull this plant up, put more soil in and replant it. And every time you do that, you shock the roots. Like imagine being taken out of your bed in the middle of the night and you wake up in a new place and you have to just be like, okay, now do fine, go about your life. And that's what's happening to the plants. So I think by starting off with good soil all the way to the top, or close to the top. I'm sorry, Jimmy's right here cleaning his butt. So by starting the soil next to the top and moving the plant over, that gives it a nice long root length to grow, so you don't have to worry about it being shocking back and forth. Because you're going to shock it once you bring it outside. You might as well just do it a couple times, not over and over and over. Plastic wrap. Definitely not a bad buy, but again, I bought way too much. Granted, this is something I can use in my kitchen, so it's not a bad buy. Same with the tin foil. I'm gonna use it, it's gonna be used, it's just not gonna be used down here. I know I've already talked about this in another video, but a bad buy, this little short greenhouse cedar thing, waste of money. If you're just getting started and you don't know what to do, these are gonna look really appealing to you because they're small, it's easy to maintain, it's easy to take off, it's probably a little bit cheaper, but your plants literally have no room to grow in this thing. So it's stupid. I ended up having to move plants out of here into the other dome faster, and a lot of the plants in here actually didn't grow at all. I'm not blaming this greenhouse for the fact that plants didn't grow, but I don't feel there was enough proper airflow in here. With the taller greenhouse, there's 3 ports on this greenhouse that show airflow. So right here on the side, we have some airflow. Over on this side, you have a little spinning wheel to provide airflow. And on the top, you have a spinning wheel that provides, guess what? Airflow. So that allows the plants to get nice, natural oxygen, get the CO2 out, and get some of the humidity, some of the moisture out that the plants actually don't need too much of. This is your far better buy. That's the one I'm going to be using in the future. This one I honestly only kept around because I wanted to do this video series, and now I can throw it away. So don't waste your time on these short little ones. It's absolute garbage. I know you couldn't see that, but I literally just threw it in the trash can and it made me feel so good. Bear mace. I'm just kidding. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I thought it was funny. Why do I have bear mace? Honestly, I think the better question is, why don't I have more bear mace? We'll get to the whole fertilizer and soil thing soon, I promise. All right, and that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for joining us on our garden adventure. Make sure you like and subscribe because it makes me feel fuzzy inside. If you do have any questions, put them down in the comments. Now, while I don't know everything, I am always happy to help out where I can. So ask questions, I will help, and hopefully other people will be watching this video too, and they can answer your questions as well. Join us next time watching the main series, which is the real adventure, and then watching the 0.5 series, which is the explainer videos, because I didn't do a good enough job during the first taping. I had to do it again. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Keep your head up high. I wanna do something great. I wanna take off and fly. Climb